Hi, it's me, Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut. I think it's this Christmas Eve. I feel that's honestly like the feeling I have right now. This just feels like we're about to unwrap the world's largest, most powerful present in the world, Starship. I hope you guys are ready for what I think is going to be the #1 launch you'll not want to miss in your life, for better or worse. Like, the crazy thing is, you know, this very well might not be a perfect launch, and that's okay. That's literally like by design. That's perfectly fine. So, and by the way, I should say on that note too, we're actually still in the middle of finalizing our setup. So we're in the middle of kind of a few things, half and half. But I just wanted to kind of get going and say hi to you guys. Get the party started, because we're sincerely incredibly close to seeing the world's biggest, most powerful rocket ever launch. So, yeah. How is everybody? That said, we unfortunately don't currently have comments up on screen and stuff like that. No big deal. It's just going to be us. I'm going to be reading your comments, though, here. I've got them right here. I'm just going to be hanging out with you guys, and I'm reading everything you guys have. So, although your comments might not be on screen right now, they will be in the morning. And we have an awesome show for you guys tomorrow. I can't wait to show you the views we have. They are absolutely incredible. Yes. We can do a little teaser of most of our views. So why don't we do a little tour day view? This one, obviously, as you can imagine, I'm quite excited about this view because, yeah, having a shot from here. The fun thing about this is, don't forget, SpaceX doesn't have a flame trench for this vehicle, which means anything within the path of the plume below it's going to get sandblasted into absolute oblivion. And it's nice, though. You do see there's a little bit of a wall there. That's the wall along Highway 4. And I think that's going to keep most of these cameras safe. Now, the funny thing is, they did allow us today to set cameras inside that fence. And honestly, I would consider those cameras more or less disposable, because I can't imagine they're going to fare okay. You know, of course, this is the most powerful rocket ever made. 33 Raptor engines. It's over twice as powerful as the Saturn V that took humans to the moon. And we've all seen the footage of like what the Saturn V did to the launch pad. It's substantial. The amount of force, the amount of energy that's necessary to lift millions. We're talking millions of kilograms and even more. 2.2 times more millions of pounds to lift that off the ground. It requires an insane amount of force. So yeah, the force has to go somewhere, and there's a good chance that if your camera's inside that fence, I'm nervous. So I'm happy that we have some of our assets outside of the fence here, but it offers a fantastic view of everything, frankly. So yeah, there's one of them. We've got a handful. You've got this one's a little tighter version of that, so we can hopefully see some of the venting and frost and all of the fun things that we are excited to see happen during fuel up tomorrow morning. Yeah, which is this is the view that we all want to see, is being able to get a sense of what's happening to the rocket. And of course, you guys can see this is pretty darn close to sunset here. So yeah, that's going to be fantastic. Obviously, we'll get some great views. We might get some pretty views from a little bit further away, such as maybe one of these. Now that right there that has to be one of the prettiest views. Yeah, I just love it, and I'm so glad. One of the fun things that we're excited about with our feed here is we have a really low latency setup here. So we're only encoding once to the cloud, so that means straight from our studio here through Luna, our van. I don't know if you guys have seen the build of Luna, but it basically goes all through Mars Studio B into Luna, and then Luna sends it straight up into YouTube, basically. So I guess technically it hits a live view server first, but it's very, very quick. I think it's from real time to your eyeballs. It's probably somewhere around, Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong, around 3-4 seconds ish. Here, let's try it out. I'm gonna make a big hand waving gesture and see how long it takes me to notice. Yeah, I guess you cut. Actually, I'll just watch you cut. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it's about. I guess I started on 2. Yeah, 5-ish, 6-ish. It's quick though. It is very quick actually. So that'll be nice. I think we'll actually be ahead of SpaceX's official live stream since they're in 4K. It'll make that more like 20 seconds. So we'll actually be ahead of SpaceX's stream. Yeah, which is super fun. So if you want to make sure you're up to date with all of the ignition and all of those things and liftoff, we're gonna be the first to air, I think, based on the way we're doing things here. So, yep, pretty awesome. Yeah, I'm just excited, guys. This is, as you know, I've been coming out here since, as some of you know, I guess not all of you know, I've been coming out here since 2019 when this place was just absolutely nothing. Oh, no, we haven't seen the rest of our views, have we? Sorry, I'll keep our camera tour going and continue the rant. Oh, I think we only have one more currently up, but these are obviously the important ones. Oh, that's my favorite. Look at that. How surreal is that? Seeing in the foreground. Come on. It puts into perspective how unbelievably massive that thing is. Yeah. Just incredible. Yep. That'll be a phenomenal shot at liftoff. And then what's going to be fun too is we're going to hopefully be able to pipe in some of the crowd reactions too tomorrow morning. So I'm guessing this will be one of our shots that we show as we're telling whether or not it's clearing the pad. Because these shots like this and the first 3 that we showed you are probably going to be covered completely in a dust cloud. So we're going to have to pull away to a wider shot just to even see if it's moving, because the dust cloud is going to quite likely, completely obfuscate, I think is the correct word. Obfuscate? That's got to be it. It's going to completely occlude. There we go. Geez, these are dumb words. It's going to completely block the view of the rocket in a giant cloud of dust and sand. And shots like this will literally probably be just a cloud, and we won't see, because they're going to hold it down for a little bit, make sure everything's good to go. There's a chance that you won't even see it moving. Kind of like, I don't know if you guys watched the Starhopper in 2019. Its second flight during the day, the 150-meter flight, it sat there in its own cloud, and then it rose through like the ashes almost of the cloud. Like it was this heroic scene of dust and all the craziness, and it just kind of slowly rose up through it, and it was absolutely incredible. I think that's going to be similar here. I think we're going to get, even though this rocket's huge, like it's easy to forget how, the rocket itself, forget the stand it's on and everything, and the tower next to it. The rocket's 120 meters tall, so almost 400 feet tall. It's absolutely stupidly massive. Yeah, it's just absolutely crazy to think that there will be a dust cloud that high that we might not even be able to see when it lifts off. So, but then I'm really excited when, my favorite thing, the reason that I do what we do here, and one of the reasons why you do, for better or worse, see my face in these shots is because I do want you to experience the emotion of a rocket launch. I know that not everyone of us, is fortunate enough to, or live close enough, or just realistically able to be here at these launches. So, yeah, obviously I feel a great responsibility to help you experience these launches. And I just realized I'm still wearing this guy. But we're not all able to experience these launches in person. So, I feel like I really want to help bring this to you guys, bring space down to Earth for everyday people, help you experience these launches. And to me, that does include the human element. It includes my reaction as someone that's been watching this since it first was announced in 2016. I was at IAC, the International Aeronautical Conference in Guadalajara, watching the first time this rocket concept was revealed to the world. I've been here since day one, minute one, saw every flight of Starhopper, all of the belly flop maneuvers. This has been something that I've been just absolutely obsessed with. And of course, ironically now, or in some weird poetic fashion, this is the rocket that's going to take me to the moon someday. And, so I know, like, I don't mean to be, trying to make this about myself or anything, obviously, but really I do think it's the best way to experience a launch is by seeing someone else experience it if you're not able to be here. So I hope that you guys do, I hope that you're, with me on that mentality, and I hope that it does convey the human emotions, and that's also why I'm excited about like crowd shots, is so we can get that sense of of what it's like if you were to be here. Yeah. So I do see, like I said, unfortunately, right now, as it stands, we can't throw up chats and stuff like that. So instead, for now, I'm just going to kind of say a quick thank you to, we have a handful of new members. Thank you, guys. You physically, literally are what make this stuff possible. So you have Daniel Hughes, Stefan Lowe, Leonardo Cadario, Foster Doug, Chris Archie, new members, and then Gavin Dinsdale, Oliver Kids, maybe Blind Boy 64. No, that was a hand. And then Angie T membership, Ben Guy, a handful, Quiet Storm. I recognize Quiet Storm, and Scott Fieria, and Rahul, and Tyler Lutz. Thank you, guys. If you joined as a membership, we are still, as you guys know, we have been working on this studio space and on Luna for 2 years now, and it's literally been something where we come out every couple months and we'll spend, one or two or three of us will come out and work on it for a handful of, a week or something. And despite working on it really hard and continually trying to get it to be permanent, we're still getting a few things ready. And one of those things that we're getting close to being able to have ready, but we might not be able to employ it for this launch, is a clean feed, unfortunately. That's something that we offered patrons and YouTube members in the past, was the ability to watch an unhosted, just kind of gridded, like 4 views, nice and clean. I don't think we're going to be able to have that ready for tomorrow, but maybe. If we do, we'll throw it up, of course. Yeah. So let's get to a couple of your guys' questions. So, Musical Wolves, how do I know I'm not dreaming? Is the FAA inspector on site? I don't know anything about if the FAA inspector is on site, but they have their launch license. So that is the most important thing, is that the FAA, not only did the FAA grant them a license, the FAA made a statement just defending and making it clear that, hey, we checked this all out. We checked this rocket out. We checked out the environmental impact. We were very thorough in our decision to issue a launch license. It's not something that they took lightly. And I think that's great. I think the fact that the FAA actually gave a public statement on top of just the launch license really shows that that they're confident and that they like what they see. And yeah, I think that's what's important. Let's see here. Zagros wants to know, Luna telescopic arm operational for tomorrow? Actually, no. Well, I don't remember if we're using it for one thing or not. We might use it for audio, maybe. I don't remember, but we don't actually need it here as bad as we do out of the Cape. So the Cape's an ideal place to be able to raise the mast on Luna, but out here we don't really need it as much. Slithery, pointy end up. You know what? This is a fantastic shot to be able to confirm something that is obviously quite important, and that is that the pointy end is up and the flamey end is very much down, and is going to be very, very flamey tomorrow. We have a comment from A249641005. How will NASA's DARPA nuclear engines, which will reportedly be able to make the Mars trip in 35 days, affect Starship's viability? Well, the great thing about Starship and about NASA partnerships is that, those two things are those are a thing that can coexist and oftentimes meld together. So NASA technology is it's public domain. So if NASA develops the technology, which, I mean, at this point, a nuclear engine, because of its nature of being nuclear derived, you do need to have some government cooperation. But I don't see any reason why, if SpaceX came to NASA and said, hey, we actually want to make a nuclear-powered Starship, a thermal nuclear-powered Starship, they absolutely could be doing that. And I think that would be awesome if eventually the hard part is getting the nuclear reactors into space without irradiating everybody. So, I think that could affect Starship's viability by improving its viability for interplanetary missions. It's pretty surreal that you have to remember that like the Merlin engine, for example, is basically straight out of a NASA playbook. I mean, it's technology. The Pintle injector and everything came from the Lunar Descent Module engine. The engine itself came from an expendable program, or a derivative of it, became the Merlin, basically. So That's actually a perfect example of how, if NASA does invest in it and develop the nuclear engine, which which again they already have. They had the Nerva, and of course the Soviet Union had the RD 0401. Was that it, or was it the 0801? Yeah, the Soviet Union had a nuclear engine that was much smaller and could actually be flown on a proton, whereas the Nerva could only be lifted by a Saturn V because it was so heavy. But yeah, it's not like this. This is definitely something that we'll be able to see and hopefully be used on, in the future. James. Oh my gosh. Yes. Hey, Tim, what's more disappointing to you? Starship not launching in 2022 or that Spectrum didn't listen to us and took Corncob TV off the cable menu? I didn't do this. I didn't do any of this. If you don't know what that reference is, then you need to watch, I Think You Should Leave on Netflix. It's one of my all-time favorite shows. Troy Hammond says, just received my Falcon 9 model from you. Thanks, Tim. It's gorgeous. Would have paid double to have it autographed. Well, Troy, I'm sorry. We did actually offer our original ones, were actually signed, and we have that. We have one here. The old, these, I'll do all that stuff tomorrow. I feel like just hanging out, but yeah, we do offer an incredible 1/100 scale, metal Falcon 9 rocket model. And, we had a founder's edition that was, had a signed certificate. So we did offer that. But we are done with those. We are now into production-ish. Haven, not only is this the largest rocket ever, it might be the single most non-nuclear energetic machine in all of human history, possibly the largest non-nuclear explosion as well. Hopefully not that. Non-nuclear energetic machine. Totally just off the top of my head, how much energy is powering something like the Deep Hadron Collider? I'm curious the total, when it's fully running, how much energy is that thing consuming? Now, the problem is its consumption of energy. It's not producing energy, and I'm likely some of the energy is probably coming from nuclear power plants. So that's a good question. Yeah, it's very well might be. Craig Johnson, hey Tim, after full flow, full reusability, and Relativity's 3D printed Terran, what do you think will be the next big thing? Well, I think those things enable future space economies, and of course, we hear that type of stuff all the time. We hear things about, in situ resource utilization, or ISRU, and I think that having fully and rapidly reusable rockets, and the ability to actually deliver large amounts of payloads at an affordable price is exactly what's going to get us into that future of having ISRUs, of having in-situ resource utilization. And then we can start mining, not only like in-situ resource utilization, but also precious minerals, the ability to go to an asteroid, and collect important things. Yeah. Valuable things. Wow. Look at the difference in the exposure and the difference of direction here between these two shots on screen. You'll see there's a beautiful sunset when we're looking more south, but looking north, it's quite washed out, and that's not the exposure, that's just the haze. Man, that south shot is gorgeous. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm a big fan of that. Let's see here. Okay, from where did that go? From who is it? Sorry, I lost it. From no. If Starship ends up having a major design flaw, is there a plan B? Can SpaceX afford going back to the drawing board? Well, that's the thing. I think they're always in the drawing board at this point. Like, I think if there's some major flaw that comes out in this first test flight, like, oh my gosh, I think they're so iterative in their designs that they'll have no problem getting back and shifting. That's the whole beautiful thing about this all being done with stainless steel and not and done in the fashion that they're doing things. They have gone back to the drawing board every single time one of these rockets is built. There's already another iteration of it. They would have no problem shifting and changing direction, which is something that's a luxury not necessarily true in a more traditional manufacturing process. That's one of the reasons that I think just generally speaking, I think it takes New Glenn a lot longer to go online, because they're doing things in a more traditional and more like linear heavy momentum in a direction. It's harder for them to change and shift. It's kind of more solved ahead of time, and then if something major comes up, it would be a lot bigger of a shift to kind of move that momentum. And SpaceX's general philosophy is it's okay to blow up and it's okay to be wrong to a certain degree. We're always wrong. So let's just get something out there, a viable, like a minimum viable product, and then go from there. That's that's kind of what it seems like, at least. Okay, cool. The laptop graphics are working. Sorry, okay. I don't know how that works either, honestly. I am not ready for that either. Okay, well, that's good. At least we have some stuff. Andrew's continually tweaking in the van, making things look beautiful. Oh, awesome. This is from OS4 Hawks. Hello from Cedar Valley. Godspeed to Starship tomorrow. Yes, I want to know how you guys are feeling about Starship. I want to see everyone's thoughts and feelings. Like, don't give me your thoughts and feelings. Give me your 1 through 10 of how likely you think we'll see it launch tomorrow first. But hang on, don't type 10 or 3 yet. I want 2 numbers side by side. 1 through 10, how likely you think it'll launch tomorrow on April 17th? No, I'm seeing numbers. And the other number I want is 1 through 10, how successful you think it's going to be. 10 being it accomplishes every milestone, 1 being it blows up on the pad. I think I'm like 6 that'll go tomorrow, and I'm 5 that'll reach milestones. I think if it gets to stage separation, I will be absolutely mind blown. Yeah, that's my maybe not stage. I think it will get to stage separation if it does a proper ignition of the upper stage. Yeah, so I'd say I'm like a 6-5 or like a 6-6. We got some optimists and we have some pessimists. That's amazing. Someone asked if they can see it at any point in Hawaii. I don't know. So the conditions. It will still be nighttime in Hawaii, so you might actually, if you know where you're looking, does flightclub.io have that trajectory exactly plotted out? I think you'd be able to see it if it makes it to Hawaii and does the full reentry. I think you'll likely see a pretty big fireball, mostly west of you. So you should try looking. You definitely should try looking. Yeah, we're all over the place here, and I like that. I like that it's not as no one's certain, and that even speaks, I think, for people at SpaceX. They're just like, you know what, we don't know. We're gonna find out though. It's flightclub.io is an incredible website that can plot out trajectories and show you, do simulations of rocket launches, made by Declan Murphy, and it's just an incredible website. And we use it a lot as photographers and videographers. Will use it to plot and see where the rocket's going to go so we know where to point our cameras. You can actually use it, assuming his simulation is updated for this, you could see your vantage point if you're standing on different islands in Hawaii to know what you would expect to see and where to look, which is awesome. This is David Graper saying, Tim, I wish I was there to see the launch in person with you, but I can't. I expect to see... you get more excited with this launch than the first feed I saw you do with the first booster belly flop and landing. I want so bad to not make a fool of myself in my reaction. I promise you, whatever reaction comes out of me is just pure, genuinely unbridled, unfiltered. Because I try. Like, literally, Artemis... I kind of had this whole thing planned of when it takes off, I'm going to say, that's NASA's most powerful rocket they've ever built, taking us one step closer to the moon. And instead, my first words were, oh my God, it's so pause, bright. Just the least thought out, dumbest thing. Every thought that I had in my head disappeared as soon as that rocket launched. As soon as those SRBs took off, as soon as I saw the light, I just go, let the SRBs, and I just knew it was on. And the first thing that happened is, as it took off, as SLS took off, the first thing that happened in my head was, I was just like, it was relief. It was all this, we'd been chasing that for months and months and driven across the country multiple times. And it was just an overwhelming relief. And I wasn't even thinking about the fact that I'm actually watching a rocket that I've been waiting 8 years to see launch. I was purely thinking, it took off. Like, I'm not stuck in this purgatory of going back and forth and setting up and tearing down and setting up and tearing down and all this stuff. And I was like, that was just the first thing. And then it took me about 20 seconds to go, I'm witnessing this incredible launch that I've been waiting to see for so long. So I would definitely say that was a big highlight. And again, just unfiltered. And I would love to be more poetic. I'd love to be more, say a beautiful speech at liftoff. But unfortunately for you guys, for me, it's probably going to be something like, no way, over and over. And my mind's going to go on a loop, and I'm going to be absolutely just baffled at what I'm seeing. Because I'm guessing this one will look even more absurd to the human eye than anything I've ever seen before. Because it is absolutely gargantuan. It is so hard to explain how big this rocket is. Even when you're standing underneath it, your brain almost just goes, no, that's not right. That's huge. Like that, it just doesn't even, the context, there's no, when you're in downtown New York or Manhattan, or you're in Chicago, or, somewhere with tall buildings and skyscrapers, there's tons of tall buildings and skyscrapers. And it's easy to look around and that building's huge. Your scale is appropriate. When you're standing in the middle of basically the desert on a beach on the border of Mexico and the United States and Texas, and you're just seeing this thing that is, for all intents and purposes, the size of a skyscraper, your brain just kind of goes, meh, I don't believe it. It's too big. I mean, even when you're like driving along the road, it just doesn't look real. It's unbelievable. It is. So when we finally see this thing lift off, it will do something to your brain, and it'll fry it most likely. And I expect tears. I expect some people to go to be crying. So that's just my assumption. Lots of new members. I'm sorry if I've missed some, but thank you to everyone for all the support. It really does. It literally makes all this stuff possible. By the way, we're only going to just stream here for about probably another 30 minutes, and then we're going to get the troops fed, and we're going to keep troubleshooting a few things tonight, and we're going to end up getting ready for our incredible live stream tomorrow morning. Cannot wait for that, guys. I mean, this has been a long time coming for myself, for SpaceX, for everyone out here at Starbase. I mean, there's obviously other live streams you guys are, hopefully, I assume you're all familiar with NSF and Lab Padre and all the other people that have been documenting this too since for a long time. It's been a long time coming for a lot of people. A lot of people are excited about this one. So it's, yeah, I can't wait. I cannot wait. But that being said, I don't remember where we started, but I'll say a few more thanks for memberships. John Depker says, I've been here with you since Water Towers Can Fly. So that was July or August of 2019, live streaming in Boca Chica Village, how things have changed and how little we've been able to utilize the studio space and how good it feels to be able to do it now. So, yeah, absolutely crazy. That Boosted says, currently in Florida on vacation right now. Will I be able to see it fly overhead? If you're on the very southern tip of Florida and you know exactly where to look at the right time, you will likely be able to catch it. It might just be a shiny object. It might look like a jet in the sky. Because by the time it gets to Florida, I believe its engines are already cut off, and the engines will be pretty dim because methane is not very bright. I mean, even though, and the upper stage will only have 6 engines. So yeah, it might be hard to catch in Florida, but if you know where you're looking, you might be able to do that. But we have memberships, 43 months memberships from Ground Umbilical Carrier Plates. Thank you so much. Kitty Donahue, 34 months. Clint Gibbs, thank you so much for the membership. Astro Joe, 3 months. Tim, thank you for the coverage. You're welcome. Mar Chenier, a new member, thank you so much. Dolph and Dringa, I appreciate the super chat very much. Daniels, I have 31 months of membership. Glad you're back to live streaming. I don't think, okay, I maybe didn't stream last month. I guess it is a Patreon stream. No, I stream blast. I mean, I'm trying to do like launches that I'm excited about. I'm actually trying to reduce the number of live streams because I just feel like it's overwhelming. There's a lot of launches, and I really have been enjoying being able to make a lot of content lately. I have a video done that will come out, I don't know, sometime when there's a gap in videos, which will probably be in like a week or two. Patrons and YouTube members, you guys actually have hopefully already watched it, and it's really fun. And then I have another video that's deep in the script, 2 videos that are deep in the script, 3 videos that are deep in the script. So lots of video content coming out, and I'm glad that it's not just, we're not just sitting here doing live streams over and over, because I've been there, done that, and it can be exhausting. Hey, you can see a little bit of our latency difference between these 2 shots now with the lights blinking. It's not bad. Go back to that shot, though, if you can, Andrew. It's just a curious thing. That might just be a difference in the encoders, how long it takes for them to get back here, but the one is quite a bit faster. I wonder if that's the Teradek or if that's the KiloView. Okay, got it. Andrew informs me it's kind of different settings based on how good the link is basically right now. So, yeah, it's pretty in sync, but it's still also about I don't know, that's probably 200 milliseconds, 100 milliseconds or so. Let's see, from Devin Stark, next time you meet Elon, could you please ask him about the O'Neill cylinders and ships? It'd be much better for his ambitions and straight to Mars. Well, I don't know if he needs to do it, because that's exactly what Blue Origin wants to do, is literally O'Neill cylinders, and produce, have an off-Earth, almost a sanctuary, or an off-Earth sanctuary and an off-Earth heavy industry, so that Earth can become this just beautiful, sanctuary, multiple different things. So that's definitely his. Elon thinks it's important to get out of the Earth system to back humanity up on Mars. I think that's a massive, massive undertaking, but a vehicle like this is the first step in that being remotely a possibility. Jeff, thank you so much for the emote. Hawaiian Dragon, thank you for the new membership. Apogee, how's it going? Thanks for all you do, Tim. Love seeing your reactions. Never feel bad about being genuine and excited. Godspeed, Starship. Thank you so much, Apogee. Great to hear from you. Just a guy, why won't they be attempting to land the upper stage? Wouldn't it be valuable practice because they've never landed one from this high and fast? So I think at this point, to me, I think instead of really trying to nail down every aspect of this launch right now, it's just a minimum viable product. Get the rocket up and flying and just see, why spend a ton of time on perfecting the reentry and landing profile if there's only we'll say a 30% chance of it even getting that far, and then knowing that what they designed might be wrong and they'll have to redo the entire landing profile and all the software and all of the things that they had just spent months developing and certifying. I think they're more in the world of like, let's hold off on that. Let's just kind of do as much as we think is valuable, and just go for a relatively more tangible target. At least that's the way I kind of think of it. Yeah. Let's keep going here. Sorry, I got way off on this thing here. Sorry about this, guys. Let me find where we were at. From Kat, how's it going, Kat? Should this work, this will be the first Methalox-powered vehicle of any kind, regardless of cycle, to orbit the Earth. It won't actually. This puts the whole thing into a total spiral, because it's not actually going to be in orbit, a proper stable orbit at any time. It could, that's what's crazy. The vehicle is 100, assuming it's successful, assuming the whole mission profile goes through. If they had targeted and burned longer, they're intentionally cutting it off short so it doesn't reach a stable orbit. They want to just do this one around and land short of even a single orbit. So it's not actually going to be technically in orbit. So so is it the first Methalox powered vehicle of any kind to get to orbit the Earth? Because it's not going to orbit the Earth. So no. I think you got to save that until you at some point have a stable circular orbit, or not circular, but a stable orbit. Yeah. Okay, I'm done with that one, Andrew. Hit me with an update. At 8. Cool. That's what I thought. We do have a little announcement here. Tomorrow morning, the launch has been delayed by 1 hour. So that is 12 hours from right now, basically. Instead of 7 a.m. local, which is 12 UTC, the launch time is now 8 a.m. local, which is 13 UTC, sorry. So if you guys are expecting launch, make sure, and paying attention, make sure to be aware that it is starting 1 hour later. Yeah. Hopefully that Ooh, we have one more shot to show off. Oh, I know what we're going to be showing off. We have one more shot to show you guys that I am beyond excited for. I wonder if this thing gets any brighter. It is very dim. I would love for it to be brighter, because I want to see this shot momentarily. I'll let you guys know when that happens. You're not going to want to miss this shot. Okay. Where are we? The success and failure of tomorrow will collect the data to keep you personally safe and determine your launch day. I'm interested in your personal perspective. Well, yeah, that's obviously, I'm paying quite close attention to this program, knowing that my life will be in its hands, around the moon. Pretty absurd thing to say. But, for me, this particular launch doesn't still faze me too much. It could not go well at all, and this one I don't care about. If we're getting, if we're 20 launches down the road and we're still having major issues, then I'd be like, this is kind of spooky. This is a really complicated thing, and I don't know if they'll ever figure it out, and I don't know if all that. But for now, it's okay to fail. Here comes a beautiful shot, and look at that. Now, how did we do that? That is so sick. That's right. We have Ben Steinman from Rotor Visual and Chad. They are here as licensed and insured commercial UAS operators, or drone operators, more commonly referred to. That is going to be the shot of all shots. Obviously, right now it's kind of dark, so the gain is pretty well cranked up, the ISO. But tomorrow in daylight, that is going to be an absolutely incredible shot. They'll stay right on the edge of the TFR, the no-fly zone, and they will be able to provide us just a perspective that I think will be absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And Ben's disappointed because it's just a small drone, and it's still an Inspire 4 with like a 120 millimeter equivalent lens on it. So it's still a large vehicle. In terms of that, as far as off-the-shelf drones go. But Ben has a drone that can lift like 55 kilograms. A huge drone that can lift a small human if he had to. So he's pouting because he's just flying the Inspire. But I think this will be a great vehicle for tomorrow. Yeah, love it. And again, unless you're also very familiar with the TFRs and all the legal stuff. Well, I guess the good thing is nowadays drones really do keep you out of the TFRs, which is good. So that was the rant there. Let's try and wrap this up here pretty soon. Do I think SpaceX will recruit Starship crews? No human backup in case of computer failure seems strange. Well, that's the thing, is everything these days is computer driven and flown. Like even Dragon, the computer drives what like if the human is inputting something, it goes through a computer. So it's not, it's not like the old days where you hold down a stick and it can literally physically open up valves and therefore, move reaction control thrusters or something. We're in the age of, if your computer fails and you don't have redundant systems, you don't have redundant computers and stuff like that, it's just a failure, period. Obviously, there will be human-rated versions of this vehicle, which will have backup options and some crew input, I'm sure, some crew overrides and some crew flyability. I would love nothing more than to pilot Starship for a hot minute. But for these ones, rockets fly all the time uncrewed, and the Falcon 9 should prove that you don't need a human, a terrible meat bag to try to land a Falcon 9 booster. They've landed over 100 absolutely flawlessly. Consecutively, and that's only possible because of incredibly precise and amazing computers. So, I don't think it's it's weird at all that they would try to put a human in the loop and risk the life of a human when a computer does a better job of this kind of thing. DRO56595, thank you so much for the membership. Xavier, this is absolutely exciting. Starship is finally going to fly. Thank you, Tim, for getting me back into everything space and spacecraft. Thank you so much, Xavier. Thanks for hanging out. Slithery, no matter what happens, if Stage 0 remains intact, then it's a win-win in my book. That's true. Stage 0, we refer to that as the launch pad of Stage 0. I'm curious. I want to see if I can draw on this, by the way. I don't know if is it going to work? Nope. I do have a telestrator, and I'll be abusing that, I'm sure, far too much in the near future. But if Stage 0, that's obviously like the launch pad, the launch tower, the kind of the whole ground infrastructure. If that blows up, that would be very, very, very bad. Losing the rocket isn't a huge deal. Yeah. So I agree with you, absolutely, Slithery. No matter what happens, if Stage 0 remains intact, it's a huge win. Team Space or TSM Space, can I see at any point in its trajectory from Honolulu? We mentioned that maybe. We'll try to find out if for sure. I think you might be able to, but Honolulu might be a little bit far away. If you went up to the North Shore and looked northwest, you might be able to catch something, but I don't actually know for a fact. Kai, hey Tim, can't wait for the launch, although the pessimist in me is still in the back of my mind. Launch window 5, achievement 4. Can't wait to play Spaceships for Earth the moment it lifts off. Thank you so much, Kai. I think that's reasonable. 5 as far as like, do you think it's going to launch tomorrow? 5 out of 10. I'm right around there. I'm like, I just have no idea. I'm about 50-50, maybe a little bit more optimistic. And achievement, yeah, I'm right around. I'd say if stage separation is 5, yeah, I'm right around there. It'd be amazing if it makes it through that. Kylie, thank you so much. All of our kids, excitement guaranteed, 100%. That's so true. David, thank you for the super chat. Aaron Crawford, let's light this candle. Absolutely. Cyprian Laplace, will you be able to cover the first stage landing? And is there anyone covering Starship Splashdown? Amazing views. Starship Splashdown, I think, is just too big of an unknown and too hard to determine right now from Hawaii. But one thing that I want to remind you guys is the booster is actually splashing down relatively close to shore. And that's awesome because we actually have a really, 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 really high up asset that should allow us the opportunity to see it do its boost back. And if it does a landing burn, still a little bit up in the air. It looks like it's doing a landing burn, but that's going to be something that we'll be paying attention to. So, yeah. So hopefully we'll at least be able to catch the landing ish of the booster. Chazzy, awesome. Almost 3 years. I didn't realize you're in Hawaii, Chazzy. That's cool. Thank you so much for saying hi, and thank you so much for your continued support. Much, much appreciated. Hi, Desert Garden. Found your channel when you started covering Starship. Enjoy your educational content. Wish my channel had taken off like yours. Well, thank you so much. Hi, Desert Garden. I wish I knew the secret. Caver Eric, thank you so much. Love the passion. I appreciate that. Thomas Bolden, thank you so much for the super chat. What is terminal velocity of Starship going to be when it belly flops into the Pacific? If I remember it, it's something like 40 or 50 meters per second. We actually have a video on that. If you go on YouTube and you type in why does Starship belly flop, we dove really deep into it. Why does Starship belly flop? Let's see. Actually, I better just look at the Google article, and it'll tell us. Actually, no, right there, it showed me the. Oh, if I go full screen, you can show it. I did not know this. Why flip so late? Gravity loss versus gravity. Somewhere in here, we actually have. Sorry, I'm scrubbing through my own video. Yeah, I think it's something like. Hang on. We actually have it here somewhere. That's funny that this video is about like, can it be safe and stuff? And it's like, I did not know when I made this video that I'd be asking myself that in real life. Okay, acceleration, efficiency. Nope, that's not it. I swear we answered this in real life. I don't remember. Someone in Discord, can you let us know if you remember the terminal velocity of Starship? If I don't remember if we have it in this video or not. Maybe we don't. Maybe we don't have the exact... Well, I'll wait and see if we can get an official answer. Yeah. Let's see here. I think, so one of the things to remember is that the belly flop maneuver will slow down the rocket a lot, the upper stage, compared to it landing engines first. An engine first landing is something like 4 or 5 times less surface area. It's, let's see here. Trying to look at Discord's, it's no orbit. I don't know if Discord's going to tell us the terminal velocity. Yeah, 200 kilometers an hour. So that's what? That's about 100 meters per second. Yeah, somewhere around there. Low hundreds of any unit will be a good enough guess. Thank you so much, Thomas. I really appreciate the support. Tom Richardson, thank you so much for your chat. An arts rasterization, and how many hours is launch window open? In about 11 hours and 40 minutes. Actually, the launch window technically opens earlier, but the new T0 time is in 11 hours and 38 minutes. Darren, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Dolph, I love your honest reaction, Tim. It's real and makes me feel the same. That's why I'm here. I appreciate that so much, Dolph. Daryl says a new membership, much appreciated. Darren, awesome. Thank you so much. Jim Laz, how many rocket companies will survive this new space boom? Canadian comparison, there were 250 snowmobile manufacturers in the 70s. Now there's 4. That's fantastic. I think that's a pretty accurate. Right now there's in the last several years, there's been about 150 small sat, rocket companies, launch providers trying to be the next SpaceX, basically. In my opinion, about 3 or 4 have a chance of being a long-term launch provider in the new world in 20 or 30 years. By the way, I should mention, I am on officially 1 hour of sleep, left Florida. We had, the Cosmic Perspective wedding between Mary Liz Bender and Ryan Shalinsky, who are my partners in a lot of this stuff. And we do, you hopefully know them by now. We have worked together for years and years and years. They got married last night in front of Space Shuttle Atlantis and Kennedy Space Center, and then we partied at Yuri's night. I ran a merch booth and sold merch and hung out with people. We didn't get to pack up until 12:30. Had to leave at the airport at 3 in the morning. So, running on basically no sleep and a little nap on the plane here and there, but I am quite tired. So I'm going to hopefully be able to get a little bit of sleep tonight, so I'm not horribly not well-spoken. Horribly spoken? Poorly spoken, sure. But yeah, Jim Laz, by the way, I agree with you. I would say about 4 will be around and commercially viable in 20 years. France Cadet, thank you so much. Joe Edel, 325. What keeps Starship and booster connected during the launch, and how does it mechanically separate at MECO? So basically, there's some nubs, and there's 3 sets of nubs, or 3 nubs around the upper rim on the inner stage of the booster. And Starship just has some places where those nubs go down, so it keeps it from twisting and all of that kind of momentum. And I think there are some relatively small hydraulic clamps, but don't forget, most of the force of the rocket, you shouldn't have too much bending or torque force. It's almost all entirely linear, going straight up the fuselage between the booster and the rocket, so in the upper stage. So that'll basically force them together. So they don't need a lot of connecting, to be able to twist and all that stuff. Not as much as you'd think. So that's kind of minimized. For a little while, Elon had talked about the idea that they're just basically sitting on top of each other, and stage separation will just be fling it off. Like during the boost back burn, just let it fling. I don't know if that totally paid out. Hopefully we'll find out tomorrow. Trident Ken, thank you so much for the membership. Agent Dark Boot, your reactions are the best. Do whatever's in your heart when it launches. What's the most insane Starship fact in your opinion? The most insane Starship fact, in my opinion, is I think the internal volume blows my mind still. The fact that there's 1,000 cubic meters of internal volume on this vehicle. That is more internal volume than what's on a 747 jumbo jet. So think about a 747, and how many people that can hold, over 400 people. And think about the fact that the internal payload volume, we're not talking about the internal volume of the whole rocket. We're talking about just the payload of the upper stage, just the Starship. That, just the top half of that thing back there. Yeah, that can hold more volume, has more volume than the entire internal pressurized volume of 747. Absolutely wild. To me, that blows my mind. Harry, Jeffrey, amazing coverage. Thanks, Tim, for all your brilliant work on this channel. Thank you so much, Harry. It means a lot. Buster, thanks for the membership. Eric Ruiz, have you talked to Elon recently? Not on camera or anything, but just, we stay in touch on things rocket related, as we should. Trident Ken, how long is the FAA launch license valid if for tomorrow's launch? I think this particular license, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 5 years for this particular rocket, and it'll be amended as there's tweaks to the vehicle, but I believe it's a 5-year license to be able to launch this particular rocket. So, yeah. Now, of course, there's talks potentially of that being, there maybe being some contention there, but not hearing much about that right now. So maybe that's a good thing. W4TPZ, thank you for the membership. Chris Brown, hey, Tim. It used to be the Three Amigos and grass is venting. Now it's how far, how high. Now it's suborbital test stands. Now it's orbital tank farm and OLM, plus how far will Starship Super Heavy get? And we are still here. I love that, Chris. You're absolutely right. It's so amazing. Yeah. Chazzy Mac, how long should it take to reach the north side of Hawaii? If conditions are right, could I see reentry when it launches? It's basically 80 some minutes. SpaceX has a website, SpaceX.com, and you can look. They have a whole thing about Starship, including its countdown and expected time. So reentry. Sometimes this website acts weird, though it does not quite. Okay, here we go. Splashdown would be 90 minutes approximately. You'll see it reenter and enter, starting about 1 hour and 17 minutes. So, yeah, if you are there an hour after liftoff, there's a chance if it's made it there that you might actually be able to see it. Rain Pagaran, yo, you gonna have any in-person meet and greet post-launch for the folks who came out to Boca Chica? Love your content. Maybe. I can't promise anything purely for the fact that there's a lot of things that I am also committed to, unfortunately, around this launch. So not only the live stream and setting up, tearing down, all that kind of stuff, and retrieving cameras and things like that at the pad, some obligations there. There's just a lot of other things that I unfortunately kind of keep me tied up. But we will see. I would love to. You should have come to Yuri's night in Florida. Yeah, I did a lot of meeting and greeting, and it was awesome. Kyle Murphy, thank you so much for your membership. Ben Wallace, it's been awesome traveling this journey from the first early launch attempts to this milestone in Starship history. Thanks for it all, Tim. Thank you so much, Ben Wallace. I appreciate that. Bazinga, is it true the only reason for Starship going to Mars is so Elon can get his car back? I wish that were true. To be clear, Elon's car is not at Mars. It is orbiting actually further away from the sun than Mars's orbit, but its shortest point, so it's apogee around the sun. Actually, it's what would that be? Not apoapsis. Around the sun would be, I'm blanking. Its apogee is 2.5 times further away from Earth than Earth, or from the sun than Earth is. So it's a good bit beyond Mars. Mars is about 2 times further away. But its lowest point is pretty much still at Earth's orbit. So it's an elliptical orbit, and it'll continue to do that for millions of years. Apohelion, yeah, there we go. Thank you, guys. Nick, you've mentioned pterodactyl and kiloviews, but what encoders do you like and why? Honestly, we have these really cheap kiloviews, and they have been kicking butt, and we really like them. Now, for our final encoder, though, what you guys are seeing in the cloud is actually a live view unit that has 6 SIM cards. We have 2 Starlinks, we have data up the butt. And, yeah, that's what makes sure it's super reliable for you guys to be able to watch our streams. John Depker, says, I wish I could give more. It's been a hell of a ride these past few years. Thank you so much, John. I really appreciate that. Momoto, thank you. TDY, I'm on the east coast of Australia. Will I be able to see anything? No, it would be outside of your flight. No, unfortunately. Little Trucker Kennel, miniature pinchers. I got $100 bet that Tim Dawes' blood pressure goes up if this thing explodes on launch because he has a ticket on it for the Dear Moon. No, honestly, I've already seen 4 prototypes blow up. I don't think that phases me at this point. Again, if we're years into this program and we're years into watching them fly, and thinking it's operational, and then it would blow up, yeah, that would be horrifying. But at this point, it really genuinely is okay. I would be nervous about the impact and some of the if it blew up anywhere near us right now. I mean, I just don't think that'd be good at all. But it wouldn't be detrimental in any sense of the word detrimental. Hopefully. Team Space. Yeah, no problem. We're gonna go a little bit beyond 8:32 here, and then I'm gonna get the teams fed. Team Space, SpaceX should have a drone that detaches from Starship to photograph it from the outside wall in space. Someday I think that should be a requirement on all missions, just because I think that sounds incredible. I absolutely agree with you. Momoto, you don't seem to grasp the concept of trying to fit as many operations into one mission as possible. You know why? Because of dollars. Well, that's not the way this all works. If SpaceX wanted to maximize every single operation in one mission, they would try to, flesh this out a little bit more and have it be closer to an operational rocket. This is an iterative design. They are flying the minimum viable product to be able to reach milestones and get this thing off the pad. Because again, we don't know. They don't know how far it's going to make it in this flight. There is a chance that it would all be absolutely worthless if they sat here and spent the next 9 months really developing an incredible flight plan and blah, 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 and tuning all the software for reentry and blah, 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 blah. And they get there and they're like, you know what? Every single heat shield tile fell off on ascent. We didn't have anything left to reenter. Why did we spend 9 months working on the reentry profile and the reentry system when it's all going to change? Because now we're going to change to a totally different type of reentry. There's countless reasons why SpaceX does not get that far. They are very iterative. We've seen this from SN8 through SN15, small tweaks to the, header tanks and things like that have just constantly changed and evolved how they do the next one. It's not about if they wanted to get this thing done and launch satellites, we wouldn't see the payload bay doors welded. They're okay with not deploying any satellites this mission because it's not about having a perfectly successful mission. It's about getting as far along in a profile to learn as much as possible, assuming it's not going to all go right, which I think is the right way to do it. Close call. Thank you for the membership. Kathy K. Serious Grandma question. If Starship melts the launch pad and SpaceX has to rebuild, might it be more prudent to lengthen the distance between the launch pad 2.0 and the fuel farm? Kathy, that's a question I think a lot of us ask is it good to have the launch pad that close to the tank farm? The entire, all of the propellant that launches the vehicle is right there. I think they've run risk analysis and they seem to be comfortable with it being that close. Now, can I speak for whether or not that is safe and whether or not they'll change that the next time if they had to rebuild? Who knows? Yeah, great question. I mean, that's a question that we kind of all ask. So, yeah. Ben Wallace, thank you for the membership. Matt Bryce, nervous to riding this vehicle. Again, I want to say it again a few times that no, I mean, yes, I actually am nervous to go to the moon. Like, that's insane. It's a ridiculous thing that I will have the opportunity of doing. But am I nervous about watching this in particular? No, because it is at the beginning of its iterative process still. Again, I expect there to be dozens of successful flights before humans get anywhere near it. This is from Recomatic. Sorry for misspeaking when I asked about Starship crew. I meant specifically ship crew for personnel launches to Mars. Now that, I don't know. I mean, I think there'll be some training necessary. I think for Mars missions, you would want a competent pilot and commander. Yeah. Just another Fennec. Do you know if anyone is going to be recording the audio with good binaural microphone? I'm dying to hear how insanely powerful this microphone launches, or this launches. Yes, 100%. If you haven't watched any of Cosmic Perspectives films, there is a gentleman named Andrew Keating who does the most incredible audio recordings of rockets that I've ever heard, period. And yeah, he's got an incredible audio rig out there ready to record this launch, and it will be outstanding. I have no doubt about it. So yes, I'm pretty sure he does have a binaural, 3D printed binaural structure that allows for you to be able to stand there. It works along great with VR because Cosmic Perspective also does VR experiences. So this allows you to hear that direction. Yeah. Let's see here. Spencer, been here for 2 years, 3 months, and 8 days. Been waiting for this baby to fly. Thanks for everything you do. Thank you so much, Spencer. I really appreciate that. Let's see here. James Grieve, question for future launches in Brownsville. How is the public transit Uber situation reliable at non-peak hours, or would you advise rental cars? James, I have a video for you called How to Visit Starbase, and I go over everything you just asked. I would not rely. I would check before you book a flight if Brownsville has any options left. Brownsville can likely sell out. It's already sold out for this pretty, a day in advance. Harlingen, you might want to book if it's important to you to have a rental car, which is pretty necessary out here, honestly. Then you might want to book an airport that has rental cars for sure. Uber is an option occasionally, although it's there's not a lot of drivers and it's very expensive. The distances between like South Padre and it's a 55-minute, 1 hour drive. That's going to be a very expensive Uber each way. So yeah, I would not rely on it, and I think it is advisable to have a rental car. Craig, thank you for the membership. Hugo, we know this means a lot to you since you will be riding it to the moon, but can you elaborate more on what it means to other people too, and those who don't follow this? Love you. Thank you so much, Hugo. So, honestly, what it means to other people, in my opinion, this could catch the world by storm in a way that I hear a lot of people say Falcon Heavy was the first mission that they paid attention to, the first time they really ever watched a rocket launch or cared or thought about it. I think this has that opportunity to be as majestic and as capturing and captivating, and I hope that it does just make everyone go, wow, human ingenuity is incredible. Our ability to do these things is absolutely just just inspiring, and I hope that it inspires people to do amazing things. I think we're gonna get close to coming. I hope that it just inspires people to do absolutely incredible things. Let's see. So the Swag Muffin, do you know why they might do unshielded test after doing the shielded test with Starship? Is it just a test of launch and save costs on shielding? I don't think it's necessarily about cost of shielding. It's really about, again, kind of the minimally viable product. Those likely could end up being tankers someday. Just make sure they know how to do that, get it up into space, demonstrate, Starship to Starship in orbit refueling. Yeah. Roy Conwell, thank you for the membership. Noah, are the booster and the first stage landing on a platform in the ocean or just the ocean? The booster and the first stage, the booster is the first stage, but the booster and the upper stage are all going to be, the booster's probably going to be softly touching down, so trying to do like a landing burn. And the upper stage is going to just completely belly flop into the ocean, which is crazy. From Caddy Coleman, hey, how's it going? Great seeing you here. Thank you so much for your membership. That really means a lot. Maller fan, Tim, go to bed. We all need to see you 5x5 tomorrow. I do need that. Dennis C., thank you so much for your very, very generous support. Then we have some new memberships from Tim Swenson, Scott Higgins, Greg Zinston. Thank you for the membership. I obviously said your name perfectly. And Good Gremlin Media. Don't know if you're reading these, but what will you say if and when you step foot on the moon, if you have that planned? we will not be stepping on the moon for Dear Moon. Dear Moon is a flyby around the moon. We are not orbiting the moon. It's a free return trajectory similar to Apollo 8. So flying out, and the trajectory will take us out around the moon and then back. There's no orbiting the moon. There's no landing on the moon. The Starship does not really have that kind of delta V capabilities unless you refueled it all the way. I don't even know then if you actually have enough delta V with the one that has flaps in one vehicle to do it. Obviously, Starship will be the lunar lander. Starship can be the lunar lander for the Artemis program. It's the human landing system, and that one won't have heat shields, won't have the flaps and all that stuff. So when they do land on the moon with Starship, it'll be very different than the Starship that I will be riding on. So I think, guys, that is going to be it for me. This is from one more from Miguel. Taking my kids. What time should I be there? I would be early as you possibly can. It sounds like the park's opening at 4 a.m. I think it's going to be packed, and I think the traffic is going to be absurd. Yeah, get here early. I'd say 4 or 5 o'clock. Crazy. All right. And also from Bernard Way saying, thanks for doing this. Looking forward to the launch coverage early on the West Coast tomorrow. Absolutely. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really, really, really appreciate it. Again, we'll have this. We're lighting the grill. We're going to be eating here soon. So I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and getting a little sneak peek of what we're going to be doing here tomorrow morning. And it'll be even better. We've got a few more things to polish up here tonight, and then maybe get a little bit of sleep, and it's going to be awesome. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I can't wait to hopefully witness history with you guys tomorrow. That's going to do it for me. I'm Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, bringing space down to Earth for everyday people. Bye, everybody.